from triggering one of the most entertaining meltdowns in UFC history to rallying up an entire country only to get a smashing, here are UFC fighters who spoke big game but ended up losing their fight horribly, starting with Dominick Cruz. He's easily one of the most confident trash talkers out there. To give you an idea, imagine a science nerd who just happens to know MMA, but what particularly made him enter the when trash talking goes wrong list was his bout against Cody Garbrandt at UFC 207. In one of the promotional interviews leading into the fight, Dominic absolutely dissected Cody as the two men battled it out over the microphone. Apparently, Cody's girlfriend had gotten involved in the big boy game over social media, and you just knew Dominic was going to make sure Cody feels this. You could clearly tell the temperatures rising when Cruz made Cody feel guilty for involving his girlfriend, and where he hit breaking point was when Cruz said that she wears the pants in the relationship. Next thing you know, Cruz was unhooking himself off the interview fuming. Cruz had won the battle of wits, but when it came to the brawl, Cody literally breakdanced his way through Dominic. It was one of the most humiliating beatings in UFC history. Guess Ronda Rousey knows a thing or two about that. If you know UFC, you know Ronda Rousey. She trailblazed the bantam division and was truly the cover girl of the promotion. She was undefeated with the likes of Miesha Tate and Kat Zingano. Ronda was in the GOAT debate already. I mean, come on. None of her fights lasted more than 3 rounds. Naturally, when she came into her fight title against Holly Holmes, she was coming in hot with all the ego and bragging rights. During the stare down, she was quick to assert her dominance and show Holly who was the boss lady in the division. She called out Holly for being fake and that her sweet attitude was just a farce. She didn't even touch gloves with Holly. With Holly being a preacher's daughter, she really wanted to dig up dirt on her. Well, at the match itself, you can say she dug up a hole. Only for herself, Ronda came in thinking it was just an average day in the office, and that the fight wouldn't cross the 3rd round. Well, she had quite the wake-up call as Holly dialed her up with a ringing kick. Now that is a contender for any highlight reel. Speaking to Ellen DeGeneres on her show, Ronda opened up about how much of a toll the loss has had on her mental health, saying that she had suicidal thoughts following the aftermath of the fight. But if you think that is bad, oh, we're just getting started. If there is any trash talker in the UFC that can casually drop a WWE Attitude Era-esque promo in the name of trash talk, it's Chael Sonnen. Fighters usually trash talk here and there on social media or in press conferences, and you go, big deal. But when Chael Sonnen is on the mic, you know it's going to be a spectacle. The man roasts his opponents like it's an SNL special, and in the build-up to his bout against the Spider, Anderson Silva, he didn't hold back. Every interview Chael Sonnen dished out was a brashy dig against the Brazilian American. Not gonna lie, as big of a fight it was, I can't imagine the numbers doing so well without Chael on the mic. Chael called him a dirtbag and even a thief, and I'm just keeping it PG here. And not to mention him calling Anderson's prize black belt under the Nogueira brothers a toy in the Happy Meal. I'd gladly take that, to be fair, craving a Big Mac right now. But anyways, Sonnen took it to another level as the fight grew closer. But that's just the thing about talking trash. While you're trying to get inside your opponent's mind, you gotta keep a fine line. Cause the more trash you dish out, the more it burdens your shoulders leading into the match. And to be fair, Chael almost backed it up. He was moments away from wrapping up the fight at UFC 148 when the Spider caught Chael in his vice, leaving Chael no choice but to submit. Though, despite the devastating defeat to Chael, he set the template when it came to trash talk in the UFC. But oh, could it be more embarrassing than Ben Askren versus Jorge Masvidal? In every promotion, there is that one contender that loves calling out everyone that comes into mind, regardless of who they are. Pretty much that annoying kid in class who loves messing around only to get found out. But when it came to his matchup with Jorge Masvidal, he really didn't seem to hold back on the cockiness. He backed up that cockiness over an undefeated streak, coming fresh off a win against Robbie Lawler at UFC 235. Fans were just praying Masvidal put Askren in his place. Cue the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme. I'll dominate him the whole time. I'm a terrible matchup for him, and he doesn't want any part of that. I whooped him in his training session, which he kind of admitted was true, and the list goes on. The stakes were high with the welterweight title up for grabs. Masvidal didn't really reveal his game plan for the fight, and now we know why. For no one could have predicted what transpired in the opening moments of the match. The referee called in the start to the match, and fans knew they were in for a grapple fest. And boom! Just like that, with a high-flying knee straight out of hell, Jorge Masvidal compromised Askren stiff as a board, as Joe Rogan called it. It was truly one of the most terrifying knockouts in UFC history. Jorge celebrated the victory in typical Jorge fashion, as Askren was left stunned as to what happened. Well, you know, he did ask for it when he ran his mouth. Come on, that pun's better than all of his trash talks combined. And now for the big one, the smashing. We all knew this was making it to the list, and what a way to close it all off with none other than the loudest mouth on the mic, the notorious Conor McGregor. If you know anything about the notorious one, you just know he loves to get under his opponent's skin. But with his rivalry against Khabib Nurmagomedov, he took it to another level. We're talking hotel room confrontations, trashing buses, and some Class A disrespect. It was as though Conor used up every insult or roast in his dictionary, from calling the Dagestanian a rat to a fake, and all that came out of Khabib's end was silence. It wasn't until the weigh-in that Khabib gave one of the most iconic speeches in UFC history. The Eagle thanked the Irish fans in attendance and promised that he would smash their boy. And with every word he spoke, the boos only grew louder and louder. This was more than just a fight now. And at UFC 229, let's just say smashing was pretty much an understatement. Khabib went ham on Conor and made him submit. You knew Conor was regretting every bit of it. One iconic moment in the match saw Conor lying compromised on the mat as Khabib landed thunderbolts down on Conor as he said the following, "Let's talk now." And that was the only trash talk Khabib ever needed to do, where all that Conor could muster up was, "It's only business," which basically meant, "Don't kill me, angry Dagestanian." And that, folks, is exactly why you don't trash talk in the UFC.